Welcome to Discovery Watch with John Kaiser.
I'm your host, Jim Goddard. Welcome back to the show, John.
Jim, pleasure to be back on the show.
John, when can we expect an updated resource estimate from Galway Metals for its Clarence Stream Gold project?
Well, Jim, I last talked about Galway Metals and Clarence Stream in late July of last year, and shortly after it hit a peak of $2.09, so right around the time that the gold rally above $2,000 peaked. And the stock has done quite poorly since then. It dipped below 60 cents recently, and they did manage to raise another $15 million in March of this year. That is now free trading and adding to the pressure. There weren't any warrants attached to either of these two financings done last year and early this year, which helped the company raise over $30 million. They're in the midst of a 100,000-meter drill program at Clarence Stream, stitching together these four zones called Jubilee, Richard, George Murphy, and Adrian. And the market has become quite tired of press releases of more high-grade intersections and so on. They really do want that resource estimate. And the latest guidance from the company in their corporate presentation is sometime in Q3 of this year, and since Q3 is almost over, that means sometime late September, and then maybe it'll slip into October. But the stock is suffering from fatigue because you can't just keep churning out drill results from a complex system like what theirs is. Theirs is an intrusion-related gold system. The market wants to see the existing resource of 677,000 ounces from the north and south zones, which pretty much existed when they acquired this project in 2016. They want to see what this new zone to the southwest of the original zones add up to. And the expectation, hope is that it comes in somewhere in 1.5 to 2 million ounces. And that will take this company away from being this sort of below million ounce system with doing a lot of drilling. Market's tired of little high grade intersections. They want the institutional audience want to see, okay, million plus ounces. This is one of multiple gold centers within this district scale play. It is a very large property. It's actually two properties separated by the former tungsten tin Mount Pleasant mine. And the mineralization is associated with these younger intrusions. They've got 6 rigs going on the property right now. 5 of them are still beavering away on this main zone for which they want to produce this resource estimate. One is farther south in a new target called Oak Bay, and that connects to the Tower Hill gold and soil anomaly, and it flanks the Tower Hill intrusion. And there's a number of such hotspots within the property that they have not hit. So what we're looking for with this company is to get this resource estimate out of the way and then reallocate these drills to testing these new targets. Because if a major is going to want to buy out this company, they want to see potential for 4 or 5 million ounces and maybe even into the 5 to 10 million ounce range. And for the company to accomplish that, it now needs to turn all these undrilled gold and soil anomalies into mineralized zones, and then you can raise a lot more money to delineate these targets and drill and just show that here's all these ounces. So we're in this kind of a slump where they're not yet hitting a lot of these new targets and showing here's a discovery, there's a discovery, over there is one. We'll get to delineating them later. We're still waiting to find out how big is the global resource for the project based on this Jubilee Richard zone, which they first discovered in 2017, but only early last year, that they finally get serious and raise money, caught the gold wave from last year, and are ready to show that, hey, this is a major district play. And it's in New Brunswick. It's part of that Appalachian gold trend. All the interest right now is in Newfoundland, where you have Newfound Gold with a $1.5 billion market cap that actually hit $2 billion, all based on a smallish deposit found decades ago, Bendigo style thing. It's being billed as a Fosterville district equivalent as it is in New South Wales, where Kirkland Lake ended up getting its huge market cap when they finally figured out where the high grade zone was there. That type of system requires an enormous amount of drilling, and the market there will eventually get tired of just getting more high grade stuff. It'll eventually want to see big resource estimates too. But that story is relatively new. Galway Metals is now suffering market fatigue, but we're maybe 2 months away from going over this next hurdle. Then it can shift back to discovery exploration within the Clarence Stream project. And on top of that, the company's getting no value for its Astra project, which is in Quebec on the Casa Berardi break. And this project they also acquired in 2016, and it has an existing VMS resource. It's a zinc-rich resource. It has some copper, but it's also silver and gold enriched, which is interesting. And they've done these deep Titan surveys that show that there's a lot more down plunge, but of course this takes expensive, deeper holes to drill. There is a program underway, a 15,000 meter program. It began in the winter. The winter was cut short, so they didn't get all these targets drilled. There's the main deposit. There's the Newiska deposit that's up to the southeast, where they see deep potential. That one they can't really drill except in winter, so we're not going to see much more come out of that. But they have more than a dozen holes, some of them the deepest ever drilled on the Astra deposit itself, and these will start coming in over the next few months. The company's not sending any body language that there's anything fantastic to come out of this, but the real importance of this is as they get more holes deeper and start looking for the vent of this system, they will be able to pour it into their leapfrog models and start to figure out where is the vent and the massive sulfides that are gold and silver enriched and especially associated with copper, where are those located in the system? So that's a project that will become topical again in the first quarter of next year, assuming we don't have such a warm winter as we did in 2021. And that could be a brand new discovery play in its own right. And if it does emerge as such, they will probably spin that out. But for now, we're waiting for the Clarence Stream resource estimate. We're hoping to see it get 1.5 million plus ounces. Most likely, for sure, get over 1 million ounce. That'll be an important milestone in its own right. And then we want to see the drill start hitting all these other targets that they've generated through soil sampling. You can't do too much with the geophysics of this type of system. They are using magnetic features to connect the zones that are related to these intrusions. But these golden soil anomalies, they've got a couple of them in these older intrusions to the east, which do not have any holes into it. And they also need some scout holes into them to see what are the controls here, what's causing these golden soil anomalies. So I've just taken Galway Metals, which has $18 million left. We'll have $12 million left at the end of this year at the current budgeted spend rate. I've just turned it into a good spec value rated favorite for my readers because this pullback that we've seen in the market, part of it's related to people being bored with gold. The other part is being bored with waiting for this resource estimate, which is less than 2 months down the road.
We'll have more with John Kaiser right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome back. We're chatting with John Kaiser. John, what's happening with Consolidated Woodjam's drill program in central British Columbia?
Well, Jim, that was a question I was asking myself because the company announced in early July that it had started drilling, and there haven't been any news releases since. So I called up the company and asked what's happening. Did the fires come and shut you down? How far did you get? They started off drilling one hole into the southeast copper zone. That's a 228 million ton deposit delineated by gold fields. It grades about 0.3% copper. Supposedly it has gold and moly credit, but that was so low grade that Goldfields did not include it in the resource model. They were supposed to start drilling on the megaton target, but it turned out that they needed to build a road to it first. The megaton target is an IP anomaly to the northeast of the southeast zone. It was not available to Goldfields when they were drilling off the southeast zone. So they drilled the first hole into a sort of data hole in the deposit between a couple of existing holes in order to fill that hole and to perhaps get some more information on what is the orientation of the gold mineralization within this system, because sometimes the gold the vein fabric that holds the gold is oriented different from the sort of systematic drilling that you do to delineate the copper resource. And this hole, based on the visuals, is apparently similar to the other two nearby holes. They're about 150 meters apart, and they expect to have final assays for that in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully they'll put out an update and tell us everything else that's going on. But they did drill 2 holes into the megaton IP anomaly, and from what they saw on the core, yes, there are disseminated sulfides, yes, there is some copper present, but it is not comparable to the southeast zone itself. So far there, they do not see a major new deposit emerging that could boost the overall resource to by 50% or so. However, there's a creek that goes through that area, and they have not drilled the best part of the anomaly. And because of all these permitting restrictions, they can't just plow through the creek. So they've moved the rig to the Deerhorn target, which is where they drilled last year. And that is a 32 million ton gold enriched system where last year they got the best gold assays ever on that project. But that didn't really change the scope of that system. Now they're drilling a hole up there that's designed to test an area where Goldfields did not drill holes. If they do encounter the monzonite A unit that hosts the gold and copper mineralization in the Deerhorn system, then they have something new to delineate. And once that hole is done, they'll move the rig back on the other side of the creek to the megaton target, and they'll drill at least one more hole there to find out, okay, does it get better on the other side? If it does, then they will have to delineate the megaton system, make it part of the southeast system. And I've done an outcome visualization for the southeast zone itself without any gold credits, without any blended feed from the Deerhorn system. And that hits all the hurdles at that 4.25 copper. One reason the stock is weak is that, copper was going to bump through $5 a pound earlier this year, but has since sagged back to 4.25. But even at 4.25, this project deserves to be pushed into the PEA level of economic study to see if it can be developed as a standalone. The play this year has been to see if in that northeast direction there is additional mineralization that can be outlined, which could form part of the ultimate mining plan at 30,000 ton per day. It's not a super long-lived mine. Finding additional tonnage would help this out. And if the Deerhorn stuff doesn't add anything new, and the megaton doesn't add anything new, the company will have to start shifting its story to economic feasibility demonstration in 2022. The market still seems to think that $4 plus copper is a short-term fantasy. Maybe they think that the Taliban and China will really get that $1 trillion worth of copper mobilized in the near future and flood the market with copper. I don't think that's going to happen. So we're in this peculiar period where the market's not taking the current base metal prices seriously. It's so focused on trends in metal prices, and during the summer the metal prices have all stalled and they stopped going up. They've retreated some degree, but they're still at very elevated levels. And if we go through some sort of inflection, and people are hoping that in September, the September rally will be driven by the realization that yes, the economy is going to keep growing. It'll survive this COVID resurgence slowdown that's currently underway. China has been getting a lot of sort of negative press about the resurgence of COVID in China, but the latest news is that they seem to be getting that under control. So concerns that a Chinese slowdown will pull the rug out from under metal prices, that's starting to diminish. We're in the waning dog days of summer here in August, a couple of weeks away after Labor Day. We'll see if these resource juniors come to life again. And a stock like Consolidated Woodjam, with a hole underway at the Deerhorn that could turn that into a gold focus for the rest of the year. And the Megaton itself also turn that into a delineation story. These are reasons to look at companies like this at the lowest price for the year so far. And in the case of Woodjam, even if those other these two drill holes that are still coming do not deliver anything significant new, it already has an existing resource which will attract a bigger audience when it comes to demonstrating their feasibility in 2022, which assumes that the global economy will continue on its recovery and that the whole clean energy trend will continue to create reasons to believe that there will be a lot of demand for copper beyond what is normally required by the global economy.
John, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome, Jim.
We've been speaking with John Kaiser, his website, kaiserresearch.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on Discovery Watch are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at howstreet.com. Discovery Watch is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.